Odyssey by Homer, an epic poem. Good day. We have been assigned to report on Homer's epic poem, The Odyssey, which chronicles Odysseus' 10-year struggle to return home after the Trojan War. Table of Contents. Author's background will be reported by Basalotage and Edsel. Interpretation of poetry will be reported by Basilidis Nemi. Figure of speech will be reported by Sandoval Jane. Moral of the poem and application, reporters are Sandoval Jane and Basilidis Nemi.
Great poet Homer is credited with being the first to write down the epic stories of the Iliad and the Odyssey. Next, Homer, a Greek poet, was born between the 12th and 8th centuries BC. His birthplace is thought to be somewhere along the coast of Asia Minor. Homer is Homer is thought to have been born between 1200 and 750 BC because there is so little information about him. There is a lot of speculation about when he was born. His birth location is also unknown. Homer is claimed to be a native son of seven different cities. One of the most well-known cities in Smyrna. There are two magnificent epic poems that Homer credited with, first in the Iliad. Like, the Iliad is an epic poem by the ancient Greek poet Homer that recounts some of the pivotal events of the Trojan War and the Greek siege of Troy. The second is entitled The Odyssey. The Odyssey is the second of two epic poems attributed to ancient Greek poet Homer. The sequel to the Iliad recounts the story of Odysseus, king of Ithaca, who wanders for 10 years trying to return home after the Trojan War. Despite the fact that little is known about the life of Homer, the Greek poet who is credited with being the first to write down the epic stories of the Iliad and the Odyssey, his tales continue to have an impact on Western culture. Many academics have cited his work and have also aided in the development of authors' creative minds when writing novels. Next. He was one of the most important and early Greek and Roman authors. His impact was felt not only on literature but also on ethics and morality. Yet, despite his prominence, we have no solid evidence he ever existed. As a result of the lesson he taught in his masterpieces, he is the first person you should go to if you want to learn about Greek mythology and religion. Next, major works credited to Homer: Iliad, Odyssey, Homeric hymns. Homer is sometimes credited, although less credibly, with the Homeric hymns currently. Scholars think this must have been writing more recently than the early arch- archaic period. Next, Homer is blind from Lona. He is illiterate. Homer is a collection of Homers. Homer is a collection of Homers. Homer's was thought to be a composite character. He wasn't truly Homer, but rather a collection of Homers. Homer is thought to be just a phrase or a single signature chosen by a group of writers to represent themselves collectively. Homer was a woman.
Interpretation of poetry. Next po. Based on the twist stanza of the poem, I can apply and use it in my life as motivation and inspiration to have a better life. Because for me, hard work is the best way to make our lives worthwhile in a world that is full of mystery. It also gives us a good reflection on the importance of nature and animals such as birds which can inspire us to dream big and be successful someday. This can be helpful to me as a way of power to think about what is right and required based on the situation and I'm dealing with. The next po, the other stanza of poetry. Based on the two stanzas of the poem, I can use and apply it by using it as a guide and weapon on how to beyond the situation. Because understanding and realizing some key points of our action as a result will lead us to a safe place wherein it can avoid us being hurt by other people. So in this way, I can help myself to be able to know the importance of having self-assessment and understanding despite the challenges I am dealing with in my life because I'm noticed and analyzing many factors in a certain situation is very effective and important in terms of its possible result for us.
Figure of speech. Number 1, singing. The Odyssey actually contains many figurative language, and this is only the snippets of it. So first is driving veils of squall move down like night on land and sea. It is singly because it compares two unlike entities in a vivid way, indicated by the words like or us. It is singly because the storm is being compared to the night, which covers everything completely like the night does. Number 2 is an example of a figure of speech, imagery, and simile. Then he dismembered them, making his meal gaping and crunching like mountain lion. Everything innards, flesh, and narrow bones. This section is where the Cyclops eat one of Odysseus' crew member while they are in the cave. Homer used imagery to illustrate a terrifying scene of a man being consumed by the Cyclops, using words such as dismembered and gaping. It is imagery because it employs a vivid description as a means of evoking violent images in our mind about how the Cyclops divorced his crew member, as well as a simile by comparing the Cyclops to a mountain lion devouring its prey. Number 3 is an example of a metaphor, which is similar to a simile except that metaphors do not use the words like or us to make comparisons. Instead, they simply describe an object or action in a way that isn't literally true but still compares. He seemed rather a shaggy mountain, reared and solid as an example. It doesn't use the words like or us, but it conveys the idea that a cyclops is enormous or huge, hairy, and lives alone in a cave within a mountain. Number 4, that sat there huge. This is also an example of a metaphor, as the cyclops is compared to death, which would kill them. And personification as death is described as sitting somewhere and waiting as if it were a person. Number 5 is a personification as well. When the young dawned with fingertips of rose lit up the world, as it gives an inanimate objects or non-living things a human characteristics. In fact, in epic poem, this phrase is frequently repeated. Dawn is commonly personified. Instead of simply stating that the sun rises, dawn, or the day began, in his work, Homer uses a metaphor that compares the rising sun to rosy fingers. This section is an example of a personification because it compares the light rays of the rising sun to the fingertips and gives the sun the appearance of being young. Its sixth is an example of an irony. As the person, Odysseus makes an ironic statement in which the surface meaning of what he says contrasts with, or it is the total opposite of the underlying meaning of what he means. Cyclops, you ask my honorable name. Remember the gift you promised me, and I shall tell you. My name is Nobody. Mother, father, and friends, everyone call me Nobody. This is the scene where Polyphemus, the Cyclops, a one-eyed giant who trapped Odysseus and his men in the cave. And when the Cyclops asks Odysseus' name, Odysseus lies and says his name is Nobody. And they plot their escape, eventually deciding to stab the Cyclops in the eye while he is sleeping. Polyphemus then cried for help, and the other Cyclops in the area began to yell, "Who's killing you?" Polyphemus the Cyclops yelled, "Nobody! Nobody is killing me." And no one helped because the Cyclops, Polyphemus, kept yelling that nobody is killing me, which is ironic because it is the total opposite. Odysseus is not just a nobody, he is in fact the king of Ithaca. Moral of the poem and application.
Life is about setting a goal and working towards it. Odysseus has a goal, which is to be able to take them home even if they struggle. And even if struggle or obstacle, if it didn't hinder from which is and how to apply in a real life. Nowadays, we all know that every individual have their own dreams and also their goals in life that matters. In their life is about setting a goal and working towards it. And we need to set a goal for ourselves because it will help us to grow and to get what we wanted to. And this also needs to working for in order to get it um in order to get in the way you want and the result of it will annoy your life and satisfied yourself.
The poem can teach us about glory, hospitality, bravery, family, heroism, leaders and their subjects, marriage, religious faith, loyalty, pride and honor, vengeance, homecoming, and many more, as well as how Odysseus and his crew members succumbed to temptation or failed to resist temptations and faces the consequences of it, such as when Odysseus' men feast with lotus eaters and digesting the famed fruit and thus losing all desire to return home, forgetting their purpose in life, completely disregarding their roles, and forging a path solely to please themselves. When one of his crew members opens the pouch of winds, causing them to be blown away from Ithaca. When they killed Helios' cattle despite being told not to, which brings death to Odysseus' crew members. And when they are told not to listen to the siren song but still do it, and in the comparisons between Odysseus and Agamemnon's families, the importance of loyalty and family can be seen. Telemachus and Penelope's commitment to Odysseus after almost 2 decades apart, as well as Odysseus' commitment to them and the effect of family disloyalty, are also demonstrated in the numerous references to Agamemnon, wherein he was murdered by his wife upon his return home from Troy. Actually, there are a lot of lessons we can learn from Homer's epic poem, the Odyssey. Many mistakes were made, but they grew in character as a result of those mistakes, and they learned from it and made amends.